So last session, we discussed about working with Font Awesome library, how to use it. Have you tried that Font Awesome library? Everyone successfully used that Font Awesome? Have you tried? Everyone tried that Font Awesome? Right. So by using Font Awesome, we discussed about designing some examples. I hope everyone successfully used the symbols, icons, and all from the Font Awesome library, no problem, right? Okay, so after understanding that Font Awesome and ordered list and unordered list, how to deal with them, we need to know about combination actually. So we learned about ordered list and unordered list. So we have ordered list and unordered list. Unordered list and we learned about symbols. That means Font Awesome symbols. How you can use the Font Awesome symbols and icons. Now one more important combination here is when you are working with ordered and unordered list, you can have a combination of both of them nested. That means you can have a combination of ordered and unordered list nested. Ordered list can be nested, unordered list can be nested. You can have a combination of both nested. For example, suppose here, let's create a new HTML5 list.html. And here I am defining a combination here, doc type HTML head title, nested list. And in the body section, we are configuring some ordered list. In that we have list item, some HTML, and another list item JavaScript. That is by default, the first level is numbered. And the second level under this HTML, I can have an unordered list. In that list item, we have normal elements. So we have like void elements like this. You can have a combination of ordered list and unordered list. So you can manage a combination. So we can have another unordered list, ordered list type is equal to lowercase a. And here we can put list item like bold, so like italic. This is another inside this unordered list. Combinations you can have. That means you can create a nested list with combination of both ordered and unordered. So that is a very general concept. So this is all about how you define the list. One more option I showed you, we can manage the list horizontally, side by side also, by using display flex. By using display flex, we can keep them side by side, one below another. That is a general approach for designing ordered and unordered list. Next, after understanding how to handle the list, now we need to know about text effects. In HTML, how you can format the text, how you can configure the text. You can simply say text formatting. HTML will not have any effects, just formatting the text. To format the text, that means to change the appearance of text. You have options like font. We have like, so font. In the font, we have three important categories to define. In the font, we have three important categories to configure. So one is font have face, font have color, and the font have size. The face, the size, and the color. You can change the character appearance. Font face means nothing but it is expecting face is nothing but different font families like Arial, like Times New Roman, Times New Roman. All these are font families. So like cursive, you can see what are all the fonts available in your computer in control panel. You can open the control panel and you can go to fonts category here. In control panel fonts category, you will find the list of all the font names. So you can use these fonts and you can apply these fonts. These are all fonts. So these are all the font names. These are all the font names. You can use these fonts and you can apply those fonts. So let's see how we can define them. For example, here we are writing some paragraph. Just I am defining a heading. I am using a heading. Generally, normal text for heading or normal text also you can change. So we have some normal text. In a div, we have some normal text. Welcome to HTML. I want to change the appearance of this text. Then we can enclose this in the font tag. Remember, you can define for entire word, sentence, or every character separately. It just depends on where you ended this font element. So for example, here, welcome to HTML. It doesn't have any appearance. Font have first important attribute face. So I given as some Algerian regular, that is the font face. And you can see that font will apply to the text. You can see the font. Remember, you have to give the names very perfectly, exactly like this, including spaces and all. If you miss the spelling, if you miss the spaces, it will not work. So you have to define these fonts. Now, generally, one important question will be asked in interviews, actually. So this is the font. We have brush script, empty, italic. Suppose I am writing here another font, brush script, empty, italic, like this. So that is the font face. And you can see that face is not working. Why it is not working? Because several fonts are there in your computer, but all these fonts are not recognized by your browsers. So if browser is not unable to recognize those, then it will not apply to that particular content. That is the reason in interviews they ask this question, right? The question is nothing but what are web safe fonts? Web safe fonts. That means if you are applying a special font and that font is not recognized by browser, then which font by default it will use? What are the web safe fonts? That means if any font you applied and that font is not there in the browser, then it cannot show in that style. Because sometimes what happens is we can download and install the fonts according to our requirements. You can download online, several fonts will be there. You can download and install them. But those fonts may not be available in other computers. And you are designing those fonts and they are other people cannot view those fonts, then which font will be applied if there is no font installed? What are the default fonts? So that is the question, web safe fonts. That means you see I applied brush script empty, but brush script empty is not available. So it's changing into normal. What is this normal font? What it will apply? Actually, if that font is supported, it will apply. Suppose I said Arial and the font is supported, it will work. If the font is not supported, then it will take default font. The default fonts are sans serif. The default fonts are sans serif. We have serif, and we have monospace. These three are called as web safe fonts. In many interviews, they may ask you this question, what are web safe fonts? Can you name any of them? Sans serif, serif, and monospace. These are the fonts available across every browser. That means every browser will have these fonts. Every browser will have these fonts. That means even any type of operating system environment, every browser supports these fonts. If any font is not supported, then automatically first it will give priority to sans serif. If sans serif is not working, then it will go to serif, then monospace. There is no question like, so if they are not there, what will happen? Without these fonts, you cannot have your computer. So these fonts are standard. That means by default, your Windows or your Linux or Mac, those all uses these fonts. By default, these fonts will be available everywhere. Without a font, there cannot be a computer or software. So any operating system will have some default fonts. You cannot delete them also. These are called web safe fonts. That means if any font you applied and that font is not available, it will take this font. So that is font face. So what are the font faces, how you can apply? You can change for even one letter also. For example, you can change for entire or one sentence, one character. Suppose I want to change only for W. Then I can just enclose this. I can just enclose this only for the W character. That means I will use font and I will use only for the W character. I will use only for the W character. Here I am using for the W character. So let's open that list. Yeah. Only for the W character, I can apply that. So let's apply here the font only for that character. Yeah. So font and only for that particular character. You enclose there, and here you are defining font face is equal to some Algerian, so regular. It will apply only for that particular character W. It will apply only for the W. If you want to increase the font size, then you can define the font size. Size can be applied from 1 to 7 levels. Gradually from 1 to 7 levels, font size will be increased. From 1 to 7 levels, the font size will be increased. You can apply the font size from 1 to 7 levels. Gradually from 1 to 7 levels, it will increase. If you want more than that, then you have to use CSS. Initially, I defined by default it is 3. By default, it will be 3. That means if you apply 3, you will not see any change in the size. Suppose I defined as 6, then you can see the font size changes. Only for the character changes. So you can give, so for 7, if you want to change for entire sentence, then you have to enclose this font and keep that outside. That means you can see it will apply for entire. If you want only for that, So then you can keep here only for the W, and you can keep only for the W, it will apply only for that. And I am changing here, so as size as 8, and you can see there is no change in the size. I said some 82, there is no change in the size, because the font size can be applied only from 1 to 7 levels only. 4, then font size will decrease little bit. So 6, it will increase a little bit like this. So you can apply separate font color. You can apply separate color. How you can define the color for the font? Generally, to apply the color for the font, so we can just use the attribute color. Color is equal to, so which color? Suppose I said some red, so and it will apply that red color to that particular content. You can define the colors, you can configure the color and specify the color for the text. For font, so we have these options. Initially, we are applying the color by using the color name. Later, we will learn about various techniques of colors. How you can define the color by using color codes, color names, and other options, we will see that. Initially, we are using the color names. We saw background color also, we can apply by using this. This is font related options. In font, we have face, we have size, and we have color. Font face, which font family you want to apply. And the color, so what color you want to use for the font. So which color for the font. Size, from 1 to 7 levels we can apply. You can put for entire paragraph, you can put for a single character, a word, your wish. It depends on where you close that particular font option. So these are the basic font related options. Next, we have in the text formatting, we have font styles and effects. For font styles and effects, we have options like B. B is for bold, and I is for italic, and U for underline, and the strike is for strikeout, and SUP for superscript, and SUB for subscript. These are the font styles: bold, italic, underlines, strikeout, superscript, subscript. These are font styles and font effects. But actually, for some of them, we have two important options available. Generally, what happens is, in development, when you are designing a page, suppose, so you are a developer and you are designing some HTML page. You are designing in the HTML page design. Suppose you have, after you designed, you have your team lead, some team lead, and this team lead is verifying the page that you have designed. The team lead is verifying the page that you have designed. That means the page that you have designed, it is verified by your team lead. That means actually now, is he designing the page? What do you say? Is he designing the page? Is your team lead designing again the page? He is not designing the page. He is reviewing the page. He is reviewing the page. That means HTML page will have two stages. It will have two stages. One is design, another one is review. In design, you will prepare everything. In review, so anybody, so maybe in the review team, they will verify everything you defined according to requirement or not. If anything is missing, they will highlight that and they will send back to you. That means now we need some code for reviewing. We need for some code for reviewing. For designing, we need a code. For reviewing, we need a code. We need some indication. We have to tell the developer that here I made some highlight. I made some changes. You please check them and update them. We need to tell that. That can be done by using a special elements, by using some set of special elements. Actually, I will show you a real world general concept. Suppose we have MS Word. This is MS Word. In MS Word, so in MS Word, okay, fine. In this MS Word software, so what we are doing is, yeah, in this MS Word software, show tabs, yeah. In this MS Word software, we designed something. That means in this MS Word software, we designed something. We are creating some options. That means suppose I designed some document, some welcome to HTML something. So this is a web page, something. I'm in MS Word, I designed a page, designed a document with 10-20 pages, some project documentation. After designing, I saved and closed it. Now, somebody opened that document and made some changes in that document. Means somewhere in a paragraph, some changes they have done. So now, is there any possibility that can I know where they have made the changes? What do you say? Is there any possibility that can I know where they have made the changes? I'm talking about MS Word. You have any idea? So that means you designed a document and saved it. And after some time, somebody opened it, made some changes into the document. After making changes in the document, so is there any possibility that can you know where he made the changes? What do you say? In MS Word. So is there any possibility to know that where he made the changes? So actually, how you know that? Actually, for that, you have an option. In MS Word, you have an option, review. In the review, there is an option, track changes. When you select track changes in the review, then what happens is, whenever anyone deletes some text, then automatically it will give a strikeout. When anybody insert any text, then it will give underline. That means in review mode, strikeout, underline means, in review mode, underline means what? In review mode, underline means what? In review mode, underline means what? That means something newly added, inserted. Am I right? Something newly inserted. Yes. So the point is, after that, what you can do, if you want, you can accept the changes or you can reject the changes. You have accept and reject the changes. Reject changes, whatever changes he made, they are gone. So this is a review mode actually. So HTML is also same. Generally, when we are designing a web page, HTML have two modes, design mode and review mode. So these are all the tags used in design mode. For highlighting the content, we use all this in the design mode. If you want to make change and you need to tell about the change in review mode, for bold, we use the word strong. Strong is same like bold, but it is done in review mode. It is same like bold, but it is done in review mode. So italic is done by using EM. EM is emphasized. Emphasized is also same like italic. INS is inserted, and del is strikeout, deleted. These are the options available. That is the reason in many interviews they ask this question, what is difference between bold and strong? Because both appearance will be same. Bold and strong, both appearance will be same. Suppose I said B. So I will use here the tag B. This bold. And in the next line, I am using strong. So strong, I will use that strong and strong. And you can see that both bold and strong will have same appearance. Both bold and strong have same appearance. Then why you have two options? So that means the strong is used by the review people, and the bold is used by the design people. Review people will highlight by using strong, and they will send to you. Finally, which one is recommended? Finally, when you are publishing your page, bold is recommended. So don't use strong while publishing. So always use strong. Always use strong while defining in design. In development, you can review and you can design and you can report that. So strong is used to tell that. Strong is used to tell that. So we are highlighting in review mode. Similarly, I is for italic. If I write I is for italic. So I is for italic. That means bold italic. You can see it is bold and italic. Similarly, for italic, so in review mode, we have an option EM. EM is used for italic, emphasize it. You can see both are same. Similarly, for underline, so for underline, we use U for underline. So underline will come. And in review mode for underline, so we will use INS. INS is for underline. So inserted, we use for inserted. Right. So we have these two options to define. So bold, italic, underline, and strikeout. So strikeout is defined with the del. Strikeout is defined with the del. That means you can use strike. You can use strike as the word, and you can use del also. You can use del. So then it will be same. Strikeout and del both will be displayed in the similar way. So we highlight our content. So we manage our content in design mode and in review mode. In design mode one and in review mode another. So there is no problem in understanding this concept. So if anybody asks why we have two options, one is used for designing, another is used for reviewing. So for bold, we have strong, for italic, we have emphasize, for underline, we have INS, and for strikeout, we have del. So superscript, subscript are simple. Superscript is nothing but you can raise the character position from the baseline. Generally, superscript, subscript is nothing but, suppose I said, so 5th anniversary, something like this. And here I want to raise this TH from the baseline up. Then we can keep this TH. We can keep this TH in superscript. TH in superscript. It will be superscript raised from the baseline. It will be raised from the baseline. And the subscript lower from the baseline. Suppose I am writing like H2O and I want this to lower from the baseline. then only for that two we can define the option subscript that is lowered from the baseline, that is superscript subscript. For complex mathematical equations and options, later you will understand in advanced other options. There is a third part, there is a library called MathML. This MathML is responsible for providing the options. It is responsible for providing the options to create mathematical equations like this. If you want complex mathematical equations, then you can handle by using this MathML. But it is a foreign element. You have to include additional library for that. Initially, we can add simple options by using superscript and subscript. These are the options defined with the superscript and subscript. These are all font related options, font styles and effects. So we have font with font face, color and size. And we have font styles and effects, bold, italic, underline, strikeout, superscript, subscript. Actually, these are very commonly used in the websites. For example, see, suppose we will see where you can see this. Suppose you open some Flipkart. Okay, in this Flipkart, I go to the mobiles category. Okay, in the mobiles category, I click on any specific mobile. So I click on any specific mobile, and you get some information about this mobile. Now, these pictures we will see in the next level, how to add the pictures. But we want this kind of appearance, That means just this appearance, the red MI, and here we need these symbols, icons. Only design on click, performing some functionalities. All these things we can do later. So, but the design we need to achieve. Here you will see all the font styles working. So we have bold, so we have strikeout, so we have italics, so we have font styles, font colors. You can have a combination here. Suppose how you can design such content, how you can configure such content. So depending on the design, how you specify and create. Later we will put the images also, but before that you can design this. This is a simple approach to configure. Suppose I am defining like this, how we can design this. So you already have the Font Awesome library. So let's go in the head section. In the head section, we will link relation is equal to style sheet, and href is equal to from fonts css all.css. And here I am designing a div, and for this div, this is the div, and for this div you can give an ID because there can be several divs. I will give an ID container. So container is an ID for this particular div. Now in this div, in this container div ID, I am adding two other divs. This is one and this is another div. Two divs are present. That means now I want to split this container into two columns. Split into two columns. I want to split that into two columns. Later when we put a picture, we can divide into three columns. As of now, I want to divide this into two columns. So how you apply the style? So for this container, it is having an ID. So in style, if you want to apply to any element which is having an ID, that ID can be defined by using hash. Hash is used for accessing the ID. So which ID element? Container. We have to write like this. Hash refers to ID because if I write div, it will apply for every div. Now if there are many divs, then if you want to apply for only specific then we will use ID. Later in CSS, you will learn all the selectors concept. So many selectors are present. By using those selectors, you can apply only to the content that you want, only to the content that you want. Here currently, this container should display grid. Now I want grid template columns, One is left side, I want 8 columns, 8 fractions, and right side 4 fractions. Like this I am designing. That means now 2 columns are divided. One will be 8 columns and another one will be 4 columns. 8 fractions and 4 fractions, or you say 9 fractions and 3 fractions. Out of 12 you have to share. Because right side also we need to keep content. I can define like this. Okay. Now you see here, so this is our page. Currently it is empty. Nothing is present inside this page. Now right side, I want to display these lines. So that means it is 10,000. So and strike out 25% off like this. Then what we will do is in the right column. So this is the second one, right column. Second div is the right column. In this right column, so we are defining again a div. In this we said, so font. So font size we defined as some 5. And we kept bold, B, that is for bold. And font face, so we defined as Arial. Arial is the font face. And bold. And here we write ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. That is for Indian currency symbol. And here we defined 10 and how much, that is 10499. So 499, like this we define. Now let's save this, and you can see that this is the design here we are having. That is the design we are having. So it is configured that this way. Actually, this is the original size. Actually, this is the original size, 100%. That is the original size. So because the number of columns that we divided, right side I kept it like this. Now this is the right side option we configured. Whatever the font style you want, you can define it. Images we will see later. And below that, it is actual cost is 13,999. And we need to show in a strikeout effect. Then how we define in the next line. So in the next line, that means use another div. And here we will put strike. Strike will keep a strikeout. So here ampersand hash 8377 semicolon. And I defined here as 13, so 999. That is the strikeout. That means it will keep the text and it will strike out the text. And for this also, if you want, you can apply a separate font. That means I defined font and the font face. So face is equal to some Arial. That is the font face we defined. It will be like this. You can keep for all the divs in the same appearance, but according to your requirement, that is how you defined it. You can change the color for that particular text. So that means you applied the font and you can keep here as color. Color is equal to gray. Then it will apply that gray color to that. So that is the font defined here, and 25% off. That means we are defining here just beside that, in the same div, again we are using a font and we are defining 25% off. And the font color is equal to green, and the font is defined and it will display in this way. And you can change the font, so face is also Arial like that, and it will display in this way. Initially, that is the option we defined. And suppose we want some space. Of course, you know that additional spaces are defined like this. So you want some space, and you can add additional space, ampersand NBSP semicolon, non-breakable space. That means a character space will come for the text to display beside it. So this is font styles we are using. We have bold, we have strikeout, so we have font face, we have font color. So by using that, we displayed this appearance, right? This appearance. And up to 9,850 off on exchange. This is another line. That means I will keep another line here. So let's go to the design and create another div. And here we define font. So face is equal to Arial. And here we return as up to, and bold. And here ampersand hash 8377 semicolon and 9,850, right? So it is 9,850. So off on exchange, like this we have defined. And this is the content that is in the right side. That's how we are using the font styles and font effects. Later we can keep a symbol, we can keep icons. So that means you have just a short symbol, you can keep that. So, but initially this is the point. Now actually we can keep some space between these lines also. So that means generally when you are defining, you can see these are all the divs we are having. If you want some space between them to configure, you can keep all these in another container and you can apply some line spacing. Actually, if I write for div, so margin bottom as some 5 pixels, then space will be adjusted for every div. Some space will be adjusted for every div. You can add some space between the lines and we can display that. So that is the top. So we are configuring, and the container I will give as, so margin top as 50 pixels. From the top, that content will shift little down. So because it is exactly on the top, we are shifting down. Just appearance, how you want to configure and display the appearance for the content. So that's how we have to define and specify the content. Now, how you can arrange your content left side, so that is same. That means you have to display this in a div. How you can give this star, heart like appearances, that also available with the font awesome. That means suppose I want to define this, you go to the font awesome website, and you search for here the heart, okay, and you see the heart symbols are there. So this is the heart symbols we have. So we already have a heart here. You have to just change the color and display the color for the heart. Red MI 9 power, electric green 64 GB, right? So here I am defining in the left column. This is the left column. We will keep a div, and the font I defined here, and bold, and font size I defined here as 6. So red MI. So what is that? 9 power, and that is electric green. Green 64 GB. So that's the option we have designed for that. And here we need this list. I hope now you can design this list by yourself. No, nothing special, am I right? Under that you can keep this list, right? So this is unordered list. You can write these points and display them. This you can design by yourself now. So no need to explain how do we deal with that. That means these are the options. You have to keep that as unordered list. I will keep that. So here, yeah. And these are the options you need to keep as unordered list. That means you have to create an unordered list, UL, and in that we have list item, and close the list item. And this is the list items. So we have so many list items. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 list items here. So in this list item, so this is the option, and second one here in the second list item, and third one, the third list item, and the fourth list item, and the fifth list item, and the sixth list item, and the last you close unordered list, and close unordered list. And I will copy this, and let's keep this below that. That means just what we are doing here is we are keeping another div. In this we have that unordered list displayed. So we are adding that unordered list and configuring it. Now for this, you can have the default font style. So that means we put a font for that. This also font face is equal to Arial and the color is equal to gray. And it is going to apply that font style and define. You can change the margin for that because we have unordered list, UL, unordered list. We say margin left as some 40 pixel, and it will change the margin left like this. And the list items, wherever list items are there, we can keep margin bottom as some 8 pixels, some space between those list items will come. That's how we are going to display the content and configure. Only one option is missing here. The option is the photo of that particular product. For that, we need to learn how to keep images in our website. Then we can design this. It may look very simple, but it's not so simple because alignments, placing, so everything matters for us. It may look simple, but it is little difficult because so many options we have used here. You can see these are all the options we have used here to design those screens. Now, when you keep an image, now it's finished. We can design exactly how they provided us. So that means we can learn about how to keep the images and display the images in our website now. Then we can achieve that complete design perfectly. This image we can keep in the left column and you can present it. That is a simple option to understand font styles and effects.